I'm pumped up today because I'm going to show you 3 ways to get more cinematic footage with your Mini 2, and I'm also going to be giving away this Mini 2 right here sealed in the box. So let's get right into it. Now keep in mind, even though the footage I shot in this video was with the Mini 2, it will apply for all DJI drones. So whether you have the Mavic Air 2, the Mavic 2 Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro, whatever DJI drone you have, this video is for you. Now 2 quick things before we get into it. One thing I would really recommend with the Mini 2, since it only has an f2.8 lens, you're going to want to use ND filters. Now this company called Freewell sent me some ND filters. I'll put a link to them in the description below. And these ND filters are great, and the reason you need them is because the lens, only being a small aperture number, is going to let a lot of light in. So to compensate for that, when you're shooting video, you don't want your footage to be overexposed. So you're always going to want an ND filter when you're using the Mini 2. And these are Freewells. I can just open them up right here and show you them. So not only do these filters match my shirt and my hat, but they're really helpful because it comes ND4 through ND16, which is great for most of the time that I shoot. I don't really shoot during the middle of the day, but then it also has some polarizers in here, circular polarizer, and then ND polarizers. You can use those to reduce the glare when you're shooting water or sky. Really helps out a lot. So always keep these in my bag when I'm shooting, and the link is below. Now the second thing I want to tell you about in this video is the Mini 2. Now the Mini 2, I'm giving away this guy right here, sealed in the box, brand new, the controller and the drone, to one lucky person. And at the end of this video, I'm going to get into the details on how you can win this new Mini 2. So let me move my Mini 2 aside right now. Okay, I'll just put that over here. Now let me get my laptop and I'm gonna show you some footage I shot with the Mini 2. Now I thought it would be helpful for me to explain, as a drone pilot, my method and my thinking behind the shots. And I'm gonna explain to you both what I did well and what I could do again to improve upon it. Now keep in mind, these are different ways that I use to get cinematic footage. So you could use it for inspiration or to get new ideas, and you could try to do similar things to what I'm doing, but put your own spin or your own tweak on it, and you'll come up with your own technique that fits your style. So let's get right into it. All this footage you're about to see is shot in camera. I also didn't use an ND polarizer, okay? So it's straight out of camera, just the way you shoot it. And I didn't do any color grading or anything like that. I shot just in camera, so what you see is what you get. So you could get similar or even better shots than what I'm gonna show you here. All right, the first way I get cinematic footage is to fly straight up close to an object. All right, I'm going nice and smooth up this tree, just revealing different parts of the tree as I go up, just the silhouette. Then we get to the top, we can see the entire landscape with a nice, beautiful view. In this next shot, we see these people and the sun pops out. We're going up this, appears to be this tower. We're not sure quite yet. There's a nice beautiful hill on the left side, and then we get that nice flare across the screen from the sun. And I like shooting into the sun. A lot of these techniques you're gonna see I'm shooting into the sun, especially when it's low and nice and orange, has that orange glow. And then we can see the top of this tower. So we're getting up, it's moving up, 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 and we're near the top. And as we get towards the top, we can see the beautiful landscape in front of us. And the tower becomes less important and the landscape becomes more important. So we go from our eye focusing on the tower to focusing on the landscape, and then the focus is obviously with the flare of the sun from that sunset. And we finish with a money shot right there. So in this one, I go a little faster, which to me doesn't look as cinematic because I shot this, moved a little too fast. So if I had to redo it, I shoot it slower. And the sun is obviously higher up in the skies. It's not as yellow-orange in tone, but we still get the great view. And I also tilted my camera down to reveal more of the trees. Now in this shot, we see the silhouette of all these trees, then the sun just starts revealing itself. I didn't go straight up this time. Instead, what I did was I pressed up and to the right. So I'm going up and to the right, almost at a diagonal. And we can see the sun revealed just over that mountain, and obviously the sun is setting, and then the tower goes down, so the tower and the trees become less of a focus, and now the viewer's eyes goes towards the entire sunset and the mountains in the distance. And that almost purplish tone in the mountains becomes more the focus, and you can even see that lake down in the center. Next one, I do the same thing. We see that path, it slowly disappears, and we just see this black silhouette with the tower. Now, I used to be a journalist, so I think of storytelling elements. So that tower with the people inside is a storytelling element. And then the sun is right there, almost in the center of the frame, but not blocking the tower, just to the side, and we get that nice flare. Now notice all the movements are nice and slow. So we start, and in all these shots, we're really close to the subject, and then we're revealing the beautiful landscape or distance in the background. All right, the next cinematic technique is flying low over water. Now I like to do this because when you fly high, as you see in this initial video, it looks good. However, there's not too much movement, okay? The clouds are moving slightly, but the trees, everything else is pretty static. Luckily, the clouds were relatively low, okay? So it's some fog, some clouds that I'm going by, and that's adding some interest. But if those clouds weren't there, it wouldn't be as interesting. So to make it more interesting, a little more cinematic to me, I like to go low. So in this shot, I'm going nice and low, pretty fast, maybe a little too fast, but fast enough that these objects are going by me. You see the fog, the tree branches all moving past the drone. You get the beautiful silhouette, okay? So in this shot as well, you see the tree branches on the left, and then you also see it on the right, they're moving into the frame. And we're gonna go by this tree branch. It looks like I'm gonna hit it, so we get close to it, but you don't hit it, and that creates that nice movement, and it adds a nice feel and movement into the shot that you don't get if you filmed it higher up. Now in the lower right, you can see the water moving with those trees, the silhouette. And then we move our eye to the lower left, you can see the ripples in the water, and that little rippling in the water creates some nice movement. So when the water has this, it creates a really nice effect. And then of course, if there's tree branches or other things in the water, it's very nice. And then as we get closer to the main subject, as we get close to this house, the reflection of those trees almost looks like a painting. Now you can also do this moving back. We go in the other direction, and then we see more things being revealed, like those tree branches, etc., as we move back. Now, one thing not to do is to get the drone in the shot, but I'm gonna tilt my camera up. As I tilt my camera up, I'm panning the camera up, just straight up. We can see the ripples in the water. Up, now we see a tree, and then the scene is being revealed. Now, I didn't do that perfect, okay? I moved the gimbal a little bit in the drone. You can do that a little more smoothly, would be a nice execution of that shot. All right, the next way to make your footage more cinematic is to go in a circle and go around the subject, go around the main point of interest in your shot. Now in the DJI Fly app with the Mini 2, you can go here to circle, and then you can choose the distance you want the drone to go around. So I could choose 380 feet. Now 380 feet would go all around the subject. However, I don't use this intelligent flight mode. The reason is you can see it changes from 4K to 1080 down there. I don't like my shot being in 1080 when I can shoot it in 4K. Okay, so that's one downside of using the circle, or in this case, helix. And I know I pressed helix there, but you could use circle. It's the same sort of thing. Helix just goes around just like a circle. It just goes farther and farther away as it goes up. It worked okay, but it didn't keep the tower in the center. So I like to do it by hand. And as you can see here, I use it on this tower. I use circle. It worked pretty well, as you can see, but it didn't keep the tower quite in the center, okay? It starts moving. It goes at a nice speed. Everything seems pretty good. Now you want to keep the drone about this distance, or maybe even a little closer. Right here is a little better. It's a little closer. And you also want to keep the drone relatively low so you can see the landscape. If you go too high, you can't see all those mountains that are bluish color. You can't see those. Now, this is a little too close. You don't want to be that close. To me, it just doesn't look good. So there's a happy medium between how close you get. Okay, so right here, I started doing it and you notice I get further and further away, so my technique was a little off. I was doing this by hand. It looks good right about there, but now I'm getting a little too far, and towards the end, it's not bad, okay? That's as far as you want to get, but right here, it's just way too far. And notice I'm also up too high. It helps to be low so that the tower sticks up above the mountains and trees so you can see the towers. So right here I'm going around and I'm getting that nice flare of the sun, and the storytelling element, the cinematic, not only is it cinematically shot, but you have a person there. So this could be the beginning of a credits of a film. It could be the ending of a film, whether you're telling a story about this gentleman who's in this tower. Maybe he's looking for his dog. Maybe he's just enjoying the view. He accomplished something. We don't know what happened. So there's that whole storytelling element when a person's involved. Now, you have the people involved here, and I like this a little better because it's near sunset. I could bring that up if I wanted to edit the shadows a little bit. But notice the sun is not in the center of the frame. The tower is in the center of the frame, so we're going around the tower and the sun is moving across the frame. You could also keep the sun in front of the frame. So I recommend keeping the subject in the center and not the sun. That way you get the sun flare moving nicely across the frame and it creates all these different angles. And we're going to see it here again, the sun coming into frame. Okay, it's on the left. We can see it coming in with that pinkish purplish. We see that flare across the lens, and now the sun's coming in. And yes, the Mini 2 does have a little issues with the sensor going into the flare, but it still works. And here, one thing I like to do is shoot low enough that the subject will block the sun. So right here, it's blocking the sun, and oh, that looks really nice as it blocks the sun. And then we finish our shot nice and smooth and slow. Try to keep it nice and smooth and slow as you go around. Now the opposite angle, we're shooting with the sun. We can see the reflection of the sun in those windows on the tower. And that's a nice little nuance, a little small little nuance that makes all the difference in the shot. Okay, it just adds a little something to the shot. As we move away, it starts going away, but then our focus goes more towards the nice scenery, the houses in the lower left, and then the sky, the beautiful clouds in the distance. Okay, so it's always nice to shoot around sunset because you get these beautiful clouds. Okay, we could bring up the shadows in post-production if we wanted to. I didn't edit any of this, it's straight out of camera. And again, we see that beautiful sunset as we go around the subject. Now your subject doesn't have to be a building, okay, or a tower. It could be a person, it could be an animal. In this case, this couple right here, these two ducks, they're always out in the pond together. So I wanted to capture them. Now I move it nice and slow so we can see the ducks. If I moved it too fast, you wouldn't be able to make out the ducks. And then we also have that nice ripple of the trees. And at the end, the ducks are alone and the tree branches are out of the way. All right, now I'm going to go over the details on how you can win the Mini 2. So you're going to have to do 3 things. Number 1, you're going to have to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification. Number 2, you're going to have to leave a comment below and tell me what you're going to use the Mini for. And number 3, in that comment, not only are you telling me what you're going to use this drone for, but you're also going to ask me one question. So what's one question you have either with the Mini or with drones in general, anything. So it could be anything related to drones, editing, anything like that. So make sure you do those 3 things. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let me know in the comment what you're gonna use the Mini for. And also leave me one question about drones. Now mark your calendars, December 7th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So that's New York City time. 12 noon on December 7th, I'm gonna do a live stream and announce the winner. So I'm gonna read every single comment I get below. I'm gonna check to make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then I'm gonna pick my favorite comments. Think of something amazing you're gonna do with this drone and think of a really good question. That's the way you can win, and that's gonna be on December 7th at 12 noon. Now having a Mini 2, an Air 2, a Mavic 2 Pro is really nice, but even better than that is having the knowledge and knowing the techniques to get the most out of your drone, which is why I created a free DJI drone training. In that training, I reveal my top 7 secrets for flying DJI drones, as well as a ton of other information. So you can access that training by clicking right up there or in the link below. I'm Breck Aramella, the Drone Pilot Pro, and remember, fly like a pro.